पद्मप्रिये पद्मिनि पद्महस्ते पद्मालये पद्मदलाय ताक्षी विश्वप्रिये विष्णुमनोनुकूले तत्माल पद्मं महि संवेदति बुद्धिर्बलं यशोधैर्यं निर्भयत्वारोगत अजाड्यं वाक्पटुत्वं च हनुमत्स्मरणात् भवेत् पूज्याय राघवेन्द्राय सत्यधर्मरताय च भजतां कल्पवृक्षाय नमः तामरे. Those of you who are listening, you must have heard of the story in Ramayana when everything is over and Sri Rama and Sita, they come back and there is Pattabhisheka. The story goes that each person is given some gift. When it's the turn of Hanumanta, Sri Rama looks at Sita and says, give him whatever you feel like giving him. And Sita Mata takes a garland of pearls that Sri Rama himself had given her, that she was wearing, and she takes it out and gives it to Hanumanta. And the story goes that Hanumanta started plucking each pearl from the necklace, and he would keep it near his ear and then keep throwing it. So Sri Rama asked Hanumanta, what are you doing? And apparently Hanumanta said, I was looking to see whether I can hear the sound of Sri Rama in those pearls. And when I could not hear that, that's of no value to me, and that's why I'm throwing it. That is the story. I'm sure, if not all of you, at least most of you would have heard of that story. And we have a tendency to take many of these events at face value, and we say, oh, Hanumanta did something strange, like if Sita, Mahalakshmi herself, were to give a garland of pearls that she was wearing, you would think that Hanumanta would accept that with utmost gratitude and wear it himself. So it seems a bit odd that Sita gives him a gift, that to at Pattabhisheka, Sri Rama Pattabhisheka. Then he would start plucking out these pearls and keeping it in his ear and start throwing it. He didn't have to throw that. I mean, he could have listened to that and just still kept it. So if you were to contemplate on that, there has to be a deeper meaning. Hanumanta, Sri Rama and Sita will not do anything just for the heck of it. Every little incident in Ramayana, just like every little incident in Mahabharata, Sri Krishna, whatever he does, Bhimasena, whatever he does, is not random. And just because we don't understand the meaning of some action doesn't mean that it has no meaning. Because why would Bhagavanta himself indulge in meaningless activities? It doesn't make sense. This morning, I suddenly felt that I was looking at this Murti of Anjaneya, and it somehow seemed little, I don't know what the right word is, empty, if you will, and felt that it definitely needs a garland of pearls around his neck. So I was asking my wife whether we could get a necklace of pearls, and it just so happened that she had one which she had never worn, which somebody had given it to her, so she gave it, and now that necklace of pearls, the pearls of bliss, is around the Murti of Anjaneya. When Sri Acharya, when he translated, he selected 108 famous quotations of Srimad Acharya, the Rishi Madhvacharya, and he translated that to Kannada, which that is Acharya. When I say Acharya, I'm talking about Dr. Bananjagavanda Acharya. When I say Srimad Acharya, I'm talking about Madhvacharya. So when Acharya was kind enough to allow me to translate that to English, and through Tara Prakashna, through efforts of many people, many people, some of you also were involved in that, we were fortunate enough to distribute 100,000 of these things, including close to 30,000 in Tirupati. And when this was translated to English, the Kannada translation was just on a piece of paper. When it was translated to English and we were going to print it, I went to Acharya and said, Acharya, can you please give a little foreword in Kannada? I'll translate to English, and it's appropriate that his foreword should be there. And it was his words that actually made me select the title for that book. That said, Pearls of Bliss. Those pearls are no different from the pearls that Sita gave to Hanuman. So these are not physical pearls that we are talking about. The physical pearl necklace that Sita gave to Hanumanta is only symbolic of this enactment of this little nataka, this drama for our benefit. Hanumanta would never ever throw away anything that Sita would give him. No way. The story is supposed to say something to us. There's a lesson for us in that. So what are these pearls? Why did Sri Rama give a necklace of pearls to Sita? Why did Sita take that out of her neck and give it to Hanumanta? And why is it that Hanumanta thought that he should pluck each one of them and listen for the sound of Sri Rama? Sita, as you know, is Bhudevi in this trinity of Mahalakshmi's outward exhibition of her power and the forms in which she blesses the universe. Bhudevi is between Sri Devi and Durga Devi. As we have discussed many a time before, that force of nature, that female energy that is required to start anything, to overcome inertia in anything, that is Sri Shakti. Anything that's in motion, if it has to be stopped, one has to overcome the momentum that's already built in and the energy required to stop something in motion. That is Durga Shakti. But Sita is Bhudevi. You've heard the story in Ramayana of how Janaka actually found her in a little box in the ground. All of these things has Adhyatma in it. Seriously, why would anybody, think about it, why would somebody put a baby in a trunk and bury it? That doesn't even make sense. Anyway, let's not go there. Let's stick to the pearls today. So Bhudevi, even if you look at, let's not worry about Bhudevi in the entire universe, because we don't even know what that means. But at least we think, even though it's not true, but all of us think that we have some concept of Bhudevi as in the planet Earth on which we all live. Seriously, we don't really know even 1/1000th of what exists on this planet. However, we have seen some pictures and things like that on how the Earth is supposed to look and so on. And from a distance at least, you have seen satellite pictures and things like that. So at least we have some idea. We have some idea. The interesting thing is that the Samudra the ocean, is the only place where you can find the pearls. Of course, nowadays man messes up everything, right? There's all this culture of pearls. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about what happens in nature. But so you find the pearls in the depths of the ocean. If you symbolically think of samsara samudra, there is all of us, the moment we use phrases like that, people think of suffering and all this. No, we don't have to suffer. In this universe, in this physical universe, all of us, it's not a matter of choice. The moment we are born, we travel towards death. That journey has to be productive, blissful, and useful, not just for us, but for others too, hopefully. So it's not so much the duration, but the duration multiplied by productivity, the outcome. So the question is, who will find these pearls of bliss in this journey? And where does Bhudevi wear? Where is her necklace of pearls? There at the depths of the ocean. We all think of Sita Mata. All we know is just some murti in our house or some picture we have seen. So whenever we say that, oh, Sita took the garland of pearls and gave it to Hanuman, and also we think of like a human being, a lady standing there taking off a pearl necklace from her neck and giving it to a monkey that's sitting there. That's the image we have. But in reality, the pearls worn by Bhudevi, even physically, if you look at the pearls, they are in the depths of the ocean. And only people who dive maybe for a living will go find these things. Symbolically, where are these pearls? Well, just like Sita Mata gave it to Hanumanta, even in this universe, even today, even as we speak right now, those pearls that are there in the depths of this samsara, it's not that she would give it to me or you. She'll only give it to Hanuman. Sri Rama in Ramayana at the Pattabhisheka time, Hanumanta was the only person. All others got all kinds of gifts, but Hanumanta was the only person where Sri Rama looks at Sita and says, "Hey Sita, give him whatever you want." And she gives him the necklace that Sri Rama gave, the necklace of pearls. So everything, of course, comes from Bhagavanta. Of course. But these pearls of knowledge and bliss, that are at the depths. And those of you who have a copy of Pearls of Bliss, if you look at the foreword, I know many people who got a copy of this never open it even. Just keep it. Keeping it doesn't help unless we read it and implement it. But if you look at the foreword of that little booklet, Sri Acharya says that very few people, I don't remember the exact words, but something like, it says very, very few people can actually go to the depths where Acharya Madhva spoke and conveyed to us these pearls of bliss. Let alone where it's not so much where the pearls were found. Where did Acharya Madhva find those things? He's not even talking about that. Sri Acharya says that even to go to the depth where Sri Madhvacharya brought it and kept it, from the depths which none of us can ever dream of going, even to that depth we are incapable of going. Very few. We talk big. We would like to believe that we know a lot of things. We would like to believe that somehow we are great. It doesn't matter what the topic is. We are talking about the existence in samsara. We are not talking about some philosophy as a subject or something like that. We are talking about life. Every single aspect of life. If we go deep enough, the pearls are there. So what Hanumanta is trying to convey to us is that every time you find something that you think is a pearl, every time you find something in life which appears to be valuable, every time you find something that looks fascinating, he says, before you do anything, listen carefully. Listen carefully to see whether you hear Sri Rama's name japa inside that thing. If not, it's worth nothing. It's worth nothing. That is the message that's being given to us. We find so many pieces of knowledge it could be professional, it could be otherwise. They look fancy. Sometimes they look very attractive. And they might look very valuable too. After all, if I sit here and do pravachana for an hour, or go somewhere else and do pravachana for an hour, nobody's going to give me any money for that. I can go teach a short course on how to design some integrated circuit, and they'll pay thousands of dollars. So it appears, there are certain things that appear valuable. The question Hanumanta asks us is, do you hear the name of Sri Rama inside that thing or not? Because if you don't, it's not worth anything. In the long run, it's not worth anything. So it is not that Hanumanta is discarding prasada from Sri Rama and Sita. Why would he do that? He is not throwing it away. Anything that has touched the hands of Sita, anything that Sri Rama looks at and smiles, has to be good. It's a question of value. It's a question of prioritization. Hanumanta is telling us that, look, you ask yourself, this earth, this bhumi, where I live, may yield some things, but they're not going to be pearls. But occasionally, even if we go very deep in the ocean, in this samsara, what's referred as samsara samudra, even if we take the trouble to think deeply, very deeply, about every little thing, even then, when you find something that appears to be of value, Hanumanta's advice to us is that listen carefully. Listen carefully to see whether this thing of value, at the center of that, Sri Rama is there or not. Then you may ask, what does it mean to have Sri Rama in something? What does that mean? I cannot, suppose I want to buy a new car or something, I cannot, people think I'll be crack if I just go put my ear against the car and say, do I hear Sri Rama in it? That is not what Hanumanta is talking about. Sri Rama was the avatar of Bhagavanta, where the perfect man was portrayed, the characteristics of the perfect man. In every way, in every single way. How a son should be, how a father should be, how a husband should be, how a king should be, how a shishya should be. In every way, how a brother should be, how a stepson should be. In every single way, he showed us how to be perfect. Not that any of us can get there. Not that we'll ever be perfect, because only He is perfect. But He's showing us this ideal goal for all of us in all the various things that we do and the various roles that we play. An old friend of mine, an old classmate of mine, sent an email this morning to me and said, "Oh, I'm amazed at your transformation." So I replied to him and said, no, there is no transformation, just a different facet, that's all. But, all of us, we play so many roles in life, right? All of us do that. We have so many relationships, so many responsibilities, so many things going on that they're not mutually exclusive. Sometimes they may overlap, but they're all just different facets of life where we have to play certain roles. When I say play, I don't mean in a fake way, but with involvement and excitement and happiness. All of us have these roles to play. As we do that, in each one of these facets, Sri Rama showed us what actually is perfectness. So when Hanumanta says, take this pearl, listen to that and see whether you see Sri Rama in it or not. Every time I get something of value, or what appears to be of value, I have to listen carefully. I have to look at it carefully to see whether Sri Rama would approve of that. At the center of it all, what is there? Because appearances can be very, very defective. Some person like me, who doesn't know anything about jewels and gems and so on, I can easily be fooled, very easily fooled by a fake pearl. I may not be able to tell the difference between a fake pearl and a real pearl. So as I go through life, I look at all these things that appear to be attractive and valuable and rare. Some of them I may get fooled. They may have in reality have no value at all. But some of them do. And even those things that do have value, the question is, if I look at it very carefully, very, very carefully, at the center of it, is there a sense of in the limit values going towards perfection or not? What is at the heart of it? And it may not be that easy to figure out, but if at the heart of it, the goals and the values, we may be talking about an organization, we may be talking about an activity, we may be talking about whatever, like what we are doing right now. What is at the heart of it all? If you all look carefully, if I look at it carefully, all of us look at it carefully, what's at the center of it all? It's not about me, it's not about you. It's our joint, you and me. It's our joint effort to find that pearl that only Hanumanta can give us. So he is the one who can listen, because I don't know how to do that. I don't have enough knowledge. I cannot figure it out. But he can listen to it. And he can tell me, A, what is valuable and what's not. And B, even if it is valuable, even if it is something of value, at the heart of it, whether there is at least a goal in the limit of perfectness in terms of values and goals. So difficult to do that. So hard to do that. Many of us who live in the US, if those of us who are US citizens, we have to go in a week's time or so and cast our vote for the next President of the United States. How do you figure out what's of value and what's not? People keep telling us constantly from morning till night of how bad a person is or how good a person is. If you just surely go by what they say, then there is so much contradiction. You listen to one person, they'll say one thing. You listen to another person, they'll say something else. At the same time, on two different channels on television, they'll be saying exactly the opposite of each other. At the same time. So you flip the channel, you go here, you hear one thing, go there, they'll hear something else. So what do I do? What's at the center of it all? I don't know. It's not that easy. I'm just giving the example because of what's going on in the US today, but the week after it will be something else. At the center of it all, is there a journey, a goal towards perfectness in values? That is Rama Japa, the sound of Rama Nama Japa. There is that constant beat of yearning for perfectness. That constant beat towards journey towards the infinite. If that is not there, then Sri Rama is not there. So why don't we let Hanumanta, after all, Bhudevi gave her pearls to Hanumanta. She didn't give it to you or me. Why don't we let him decide and guide us and tell us where there is Sri Rama and where there isn't? Wisdom, jnana. You've heard this saying that behind every jnani, Rama and Lakshmana are walking just a couple of feet behind. That also symbolically was shown. When the rishis trying to perform a yajna was being ruined by Asuri Shaktis, they come to Ayodhya. And Dasharatha He doesn't want to let go of his little kids. But these are not little kids, it's Sri Ram and Lakshmana. They walk behind the Rishi and says, don't worry, let's go. You perform the yajna, we'll make sure that nothing gets in the way. We will stand guard. Where is the question of fear? If Sri Rama himself is guarding the homa, the offering, where is the question of anything coming in the way or destroying them? What would Sri Rama protect in reality? He would protect a jnani doing his homa, his offering to society, to God through society. So as we all go through life in this samsara, more than anything else, is not that we should enjoy things. Of course you can enjoy things. Why not? You can have fun. You don't have to sit somewhere cross-legged, keep chanting Sri Rama, Sri Rama. But more importantly, those pearls of bliss. If what Hanumanta, in whatever avatara, Bhimasena or Acharya Madhva, what he gave us and said, here are the pearls. If my activity in life is adorned by this necklace of pearls of bliss that he gave, there are only two entities worthy of wearing that necklace. Sita Mata and Hanuman. So let's ask ourselves, I ask myself, it's a struggle. It is a struggle. Life is a struggle. But it can also be blissful. Little things, small things. Things that is of value which people may not realize, gives so much happiness and bliss. But we have to know what is at the center of this. Just this morning, today is Narak Chaturdashi, as you know. Wake up in the morning, I come down, I look at my phone, there is some message, I look at them, and there is a message of blessings from a Swamiji of one of the Ashtamathas. You may say another message, whatever. But we are the ones who were supposed to go to them. Whatever comes, we may not even pay attention That's our biggest problem. When something of value comes your way, we don't even realize what has come. We don't realize the people who come to our homes. I always think it's been like, I don't know, more than 50 years, 55 years. Even to this day, I think of this Dasaru who used to come to our house and sit there and sing Devanamas. Occasionally, randomly, just show. I don't even know his name. Who was that man? Who was he that made such an impact on a little boy? That I would remember after decades, many decades. I don't know. Even to this day, I don't know and I'll never know. But we need to have the sight to recognize value where it exists. It cannot be blinded by my own perception of what is of value and what isn't. I'm incapable of figuring that out. So I don't want to in any way lose out on something of value when it shows up. Because it may never show up again. I cannot take things for granted. A person, an event, an activity, whatever that might be. I don't want it blinded by my own sense of what is important and what's not, who is important and who isn't. Because just like a fake pearl is of no value and its purpose is served, we just throw it in the trash. A real pearl is something you keep. So these memories of what is important, of some old man coming and singing a Devarnama on a hot summer day in Bangalore in the 1950s. That gem, that pearl, that memory is of value. And that is why it's still with me after all these decades. I didn't know that. But so many other people who thought they were important, who we thought were important, came so many times. I don't have any recollection of that. Some of them were IAS officers, they had cars, they were big shots back then. Where are they today? Where are the memories? I can't remember any of them. No memory. And yet, this older gentleman wearing an old dhoti, I can still envision. I can hear that sound. He would have this tala. I don't know if you know what that means. So he'd You say Jai Jai Vitala Panduranga, Jai Hari Vitala Panduranga. We could hear that from a distance. The moment he came around the corner, we would go running to our mother and say, Maji Maji, Dasar Bandru, he has come, he has come. There was so much excitement. When something of value shows up, that excitement. Because Sri Rama has to be at the heart of that. Of course, we'd get excited if somebody brings Sri Rama to our house. Like that famous song, Sundar Murti Mukhya Prana Bandhanama Manage. Some of you who know Kannada know that song. How exciting it is. How exciting. How wonderful. How thrilling. When someone who can differentiate between real pearls and fake pearls, someone who can give us those pearls of bliss, actually show up at our doorstep. Sometimes we lock the door. We don't even realize. We don't invite them home. They don't need anything fancy. That elderly gentleman who used to come to our house, we didn't even have a sofa, nothing in our house. A little wooden plank. We put the money and said, Dasar Bani Bani, do namaskara to him. They're not expecting anything fancy. But they are expecting bhakti. Sometimes we think we get so involved in what we believe is important that we tend to ignore and shut the door on those that bring the pearls of bliss. On this Naraka Chaturdashi, let there be light. Tomorrow is Amavasya. People do Lakshmi Puja. And day after tomorrow is Balipandini. At least in the US it is. And for those of you who are in India, times may be a little different, but for us. Let there be light. Tamasoma Jyotirgame. We talked about the lamp and the light last time. I really, really hope, as I watch people, even at close distance, as I watch my own close relatives and friends, it's hard sometimes to point out certain things. It's very hard because they may feel bad, and nobody wants to hurt another person's feelings. But at the same time, if we know something that can help someone, if we know something of value, it's our obligation, karma, it's our obligation to share it. Not to pontificate, not to pass judgment, but humbly offer. Just yesterday in RIT, when I was doing Pravachana there, I was telling them the significance of Balipadini. And this concept of offering, the concept of dana. An offering. The people sitting in front of me may be young people. They may be students. But who knows who they are? For any of us to act arrogant, thinking that I know everything, no matter how good our intentions are, and not have that humility to go and seek the blessings of the wise ones before we start something, is foolish. Foolish, utterly foolish. I see this enacted around me so many times. And I feel like saying, why are you doing this? Don't you need the blessings that will bring you the Kriya Shakti so that you'll be successful? I hope that all of us, in our hearts, Bhagavanta, Mahalakshmi, and most importantly for us, not most importantly in the universe, but most importantly for us, He is our interface. He is Jivottama. It is the Jivottama that can take us towards Sarvottama. He and his retinue, which we might call our Guru Parampara, let them guide us in finding these pearls of value in life, so that we have the humility to bow down and seek the blessings of those who deliver those pearls of bliss to us. Happy Deepavali to all of you. We'll meet again next week, God willing. Krishna.